To all my YouTube watchers, I know you're desperate to know what a NFT, a non-fungible token is, especially if you're an artist. So let me know in the comments what you think about this video, and pay attention. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button so you can see more of these videos, because I'll probably be doing more NFTs. And as always, I appreciate you supporting me this way because it helps my channel grow. If my channel grows, I can get a bigger staff, do these videos more often, and really tell you step by step of what you need to do to succeed. So let me get right into the video about NFTs. As an artist or a producer, how do you turn your music into an NFT? What is an NFT? What is digital art? How do you go about making one? And is it worth it? What do you do with it? You know, is it the new trend? Is it gonna be a big bubble and then bust? What's going on, guys? My name is Matei. Another day for Music Biz Daily. Today I'm gonna give you a pretty detailed breakdown of what NFTs are. It's this next hottest thing that everybody's talking about, but it really is not that new in terms of what it really is in terms of the technology, but it's maybe a little bit new to the music industry itself. But I'm also going to talk about how it's not, how certain labels have endorsed this technology or try to basically accelerate the growth of this technology since 2019. And when it comes to cryptocurrency or blockchain for music sales, goes all the way back to 2014, maybe even 2015, something like that. So let's get right to it. So, you know, who is using NFTs in the music industry right now? From all the information that I've read and I understand, is that Kings of Leon, if you guys heard that band, pretty major band out there, are the first band, at least according to the articles, that have put out their entire album as an NFT. We got another notable digital artist who does paintings and digital art called Banksy, who actually sold one of his paintings for a lot of money and then burned it after it was sold. I don't know if that was in the agreement or whatever the hell happened, but that was a interesting article that I read. We got Tory Lanez thinking about making his album or his next single an NFT. Jack Dorsey famously auctioned off his first tweet. Like, how do you even do that? But I'm gonna explain it. He auctioned off his first tweet, and some cryptocurrency investor, billionaire in Russia has bid on it, $2.5 million. And I don't know if the bid's going up or if he won it, but man, his first tweet, $2.5 million. You got Ill Minds. I'm sure a lot of you guys in hip hop are familiar with that producer. He's the first producer that created a sample pack of music and turned it into an NFT. We got Linkin Park, who it was actually weeks ago, if not months ago, created a snippet of one of their early singles, and they auctioned off the snippet on Twitter as a way of raising money for a cause, and they raised $30,000. So that was interesting. Again, it was an auction-based NFT. But let's get into what an NFT is and what is a cryptocurrency. Like, how did this end up in the crypto space? And what is a blockchain, if you guys don't understand that? Because blockchain is an interesting technology. It has an interesting utility. In the common world, contracts, let's say you go to a bank and you get a mortgage for a house. That contract is written by the bank, it's endorsed and underwritten on the bank, and then they store it, in their system, which could be hacked or it could be, sold, and the transaction is not necessarily always properly tracked. You guys saw what happened in 2008, and the entire market fell apart because these things got packaged. People didn't know their values, they were underpriced, all of that happened. So blockchain sort of solves that, because a blockchain is basically a publicly accessible ledger, right? Like an accountant. When let's say you got $1,000, you first spend your $100 on this, $100 on that, then you spend $50 on this, $25 on that. It's written in the ledger. So a blockchain will create a block of information, which is the publicly available contract that said that maybe you paid 1 Bitcoin to somebody for their service. The next time you create a transaction, there's another block of that. Or if you bought something for that 1 Bitcoin and then it passes to another owner, there's another block created, and another block, and another block. And all these blocks are publicly accessible, and they are encrypted, and they're very secure. And if somebody ever wanted to hack the blockchain, it's very, very difficult, because they would have to hack and modify and sort of, transform all the other previous blocks that have tracked this entire long transaction of transactions, essentially, right? So a blockchain is this huge public ledger of encrypted, contracts and money exchanges or value exchanges. So what's a good world, like real world example? Like Carfax. if you want to think of Carfax as like a fancy blockchain, it's sort of that, right? Because the insurance companies have to report. If you got into an accident and you report it to your car insurance company on your vehicle, it will end up on a Carfax. It's pretty damn secure. You can trust the Carfax. Obviously, you can avoid reporting your accident to an insurance company, but then of course you got to come out of pocket to fix your car, and a lot of people don't want to do that. It's really not worth it, especially if the deductible is $500. But if you report it, it will end up on the Carfax, and it's a decent real-world example of what a blockchain is. So let's talk about how blockchains or how cryptocurrency, is sold, or NFT specifically. How is an NFT sold? I mentioned it earlier. It could be through an auction. You can keep bidding up the price. Maybe you release a special version of an album or a single, or a special piece of artwork associated with the album that you will auction off for a charity cause, or just auction off to the highest bidder, which could be your fan. Or you can have a set price. So for example, you can sell your single as multiple singles for a set price, just like you can buy multiple Bitcoins, or you can buy multiple Ethereums, or you can buy multiple other cryptocurrencies. You can buy multiple versions or copies of your single because you assign an NFT price to each single, and you can sell 200 of them, or whatever. Or you can package it up into an album, and then that NFT keeps gaining price as more people buy it. So auction or a set price. How to create an NFT. So first of all, you got to have a digital wallet, right? I invested a little bit into cryptos and the Bitcoin and Ethereum, so I have Coinbase, which is my digital wallet, which allows me to retrieve my Bitcoins, trade them to a certain extent, change them into US dollars and all that. I'm not saying Coinbase. And I'm not saying Coinbase is where you create the NFT, because currently, as far as I understand, is not. But Coinbase is an example of a digital wallet, but you have to create a MetaMask. Then once you have the MetaMask, which is another form of like a digital or software wallet, then you can go to a place called OpenSea. That's one of the ones that I found, where I think it's OpenSea.io, where you can go and create or you can tokenize. You can tokenize your digital art. So if it's a single, if it's an album, if it's a painting, you can tokenize your digital art, and now it's available to be purchased through these different exchanges, right? So how to buy and sell it? If you also want to buy and sell it, you got to have one of these digital wallets or software wallets. Like I said, Coinbase. I think once the NFT is created, you could be able to buy it through a Coinbase. You just can't create it currently associated with Coinbase. But MetaMask is another good one. And then these different exchanges you can buy it. Where can you, or how do you hear about these things? Obviously, if the artist creates an NFT, they can tweet about it, they can put it on their IG, they can do a campaign around it and say, yo, I created my album with the next single as an NFT. People know about it, then you can purchase it through these exchanges. Matter of fact, there's labels now that are getting together with different companies that are like specializing in the space, and they're creating digital exhibitions, almost like an art gallery, a physical one where you walk in there, you look at a bunch of paintings, and then they have a bidding war, and you say, okay, I'm willing to bid $3,000 on that painting. They have digital exhibitions of digital art. Remember, doesn't have to just be music. It could be a Pokemon card. I mean, you can assign many different things to NFTs. Believe it or not, even physical things can have an NFT behind it. So it's sort of a little bit confusing, but NFT is just a representation of value, of worth, of whatever art, digital art, or even physical art, as the examples that I gave you, are attached to that NFT. How do the labels look at this? So this is where I get back to that this thing is not news. Like Warner Music Group got behind a company that was in the NFT space that tried to sort of, tokenize digital music or, different things based around music artists back in 2019. If we're talking about just the blockchain and the ability to pay an artist directly for their music through cryptocurrency on a blockchain environment, the founder of Ethereum actually also co-founded another website called Ujo Music, which I've been monitoring that since like 2015, if I'm not mistaken, maybe late 2014, but definitely 2015. One of my companies, Renewed, I talk about them a lot. There was a project in Brooklyn, New York, where Ethereum was used to take out the middleman as a utility, where they were, imagine like a street of houses. One side of the row houses had solar panels on top of it. When they generated excess energy, more energy than those row houses could use, those row houses could use that energy, that electricity, to their next door neighbor directly through Ethereum, bypassing the electrical utility in New York, right? So that person that came out with that whole concept in Ethereum, he also co-founded Ujo Music, which Lorde, if you guys remember the artist Lorde, she famously endorsed that particular, cryptocurrency environment to start selling their music. So labels have been at this, and trust me, labels are probably putting this in the contracts. If you get a contract with a label, you're probably gonna have a clause in there where if you happen to create an NFT, they're just gonna treat it as you creating a digital album and putting it on Apple Music, Spotify, all these different DSPs, and making money from that. So NFTs are gonna sort of represent a certain value. But what I wanted to say is not that new, but it's definitely blowing up because of PR, because of the news, right? So, what are the pros of creating NFT, right? Because it's like, should you create as an artist? So the pros are that it's a good way to secure your intellectual property. So for example, if there's a song with samples on it, or you create an original piece of content and other people are gonna sample it later, this block in the chain of blocks, in the blockchain, there's one block when you originate that sound will hold the information in that contract of who belongs to and so on and so forth. So in theory, instead of having to go through all these different people to figure out where the sample is and who owns it and which label is willing to clear it or not clear it, if it's made into a blockchain, into an NFT, in the future you'll be able to purchase samples as NFTs, which could be very interesting. Who's going to be the highest bidder behind an old James Brown sample or old Madonna sample? They could drive up the price to a point where only certain artists will be able to afford that particular sample and use it to clear it. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be very interesting, but what are the pros? It's a novelty right now. It's blowing up. Maybe you wanna hop on the bandwagon. Is it gonna last? Nobody knows, but it's definitely novelty. You can use it for PR. You could be the first whatever artist to do X, Y, and Z with an NFT. You know what I'm saying? What else? It could be a great way to make extra additional dollars, extra money during COVID, or an extra revenue stream for artists that are big enough, that have big enough brands that actually makes sense for them to do it, which brings me to the next topic, which is what are the cons of an NFT? So for starters, emerging artists, does it make sense for them to create an NFT? Because look, don't get this twisted. Just because you can get an NFT, if you have no brand, no demand, nobody's probably gonna buy it, your NFT. Could you get lucky and put out maybe your, I don't know. I couldn't even think of an example. Could you get lucky with NFT? Sure. You get some, deranged rich person in Russia to buy your NFT as a single because you happen to have an awesome cover, or you're a cute female and it's an old, lonely dude, or vice versa. You're attractive male and some cougar out in Russia is going to buy an NFT for $100,000 because you look cute. Whatever. Can you get lucky? Sure. Might as well buy a lottery ticket. The point I'm trying to make is that the con of starting an NFT for emerging artists is that it sort of just gives you another thing to worry about. It's like, do I got to start an NFT? Now I have to figure out what blockchain is. I have to get a virtual wallet, or a digital wallet. Now I got to submit for it. I got to create it. I got to make it available for auction or for sale and all that. Should you worry about it? I'm not saying don't, but consider it. If your brand is not at a level where it makes sense yet, it may just be a whole nother thing to add to your task list of tasks that you got to do just to get your brand to the next level. But if you have already certain things going well for you and your brand is expanding, continue to expand your brand when it makes sense, then create an NFT, or when you get a next human resource on your team, a next manager or the next person or intern that is knowledgeable in the crypto space, have them do it. You know what I'm saying? So consider that. What's another thing? Is it a bubble? Like, is this, that could be the con of these NFTs. Is it just another bubble that's become famous to talk about right now because it's trendy? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of big artists are jumping on it. But again, if they don't figure out how to really, monetize it the right way, it may not go anywhere. And if it's a bubble, it's going to burst and things are going to come back to normal. Or, just like cryptocurrency, there's like 10,000 different cryptocurrencies out there. There's cryptocurrencies for dog food, for cleaning supplies. There's cryptocurrencies for, I don't even know, for Vegas entertainment venues, like you name it, right? But it sort of consolidated. A lot of that was a bubble, it bursted, and the ones that stayed around are Bitcoin, Ethereum, even Litecoin, if you guys remember that. That's that bursted as a bubble. So Ethereum and Bitcoin stayed around because they were literally the pioneers that started this whole thing in like 2008, 2009. So is this a bubble? It is. You got to figure out how to sell it, right? It may sort of consolidate. Yes, every artist maybe in the next 2 to 3 years will have his own NFT, whether it's for their album, single, digital art, or whatever the case is, but the market is going to stabilize. Your NFT is only going to be as attractive as your brand. It's only going to be worth as much as your brand. Just like if you put out a song on Spotify and Apple Music, even if you're a huge artist, only depending on how much you market it or how good the song is, if you already have the demand, will determine if you get 1 billion streams, 2 billion streams, or if your single is going to be, number one on Hot 100 Billboard charts, Hot 100 charts, essentially. So it just has to do again with your demand and examples of this. I already gave you plenty of examples in the past that have been done on this, but if you guys famously remember, Wu-Tang Clan put out one album that was only sold to one person for $1 million. And I don't know if it got ever leaked or if anybody's ever, heard it after that. But NFT could sort of become the same thing. And how many times have you heard artists trying to do that? Or for example, Nipsey Hussle was very clever with reading the Contagious book and figured, why don't I just sell my, mixtape? I think what he sold it for like 10 grand or $1,000. I think it was $1,000 a copy. And he was able to do it as the first one. It was a great PR thing. He got notoriety for it. But then if every other artist try to sell their album or their mixtape for $1,000 a pop, how many more can do it? You see what I'm getting at? So is it a trend? We don't know. But that's why I'm doing this video. I'm encouraging you to learn about it. Does it make sense for your brand? That's up to you up to you to figure out. If it is, make one, experiment with it, experiment with multiple versions of NFTs. Can you sell it? Does it make sense? Is it a waste of your time? Should you just focus on what's working? I don't know. But I'm going to leave you guys with that. I'll give you enough information. If you let me know in the comments, I may do other videos to maybe show you exactly step by step of how to create an NFT if you wanted to create, one of your singles into it. So just, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. I know this is a long video, a lot of information thrown at you, but if you need to know what me and my team do, as always, click the link in the bio or in the description below. Share this video with whoever needs to understand what an NFT is. And again, let me know what else I can talk about when it comes to NFTs. I'm happy to do the research, look into it, or see if any of our clients are already, on the track of getting these NFTs out, because I actually do have some clients that, anyways, I'm not going to get into that. Let me know what you guys need. Share this, whoever needs to see it, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another day of Music Biz Daily.